Let's see here. There we go. Now you got sound, right? Now you should have sound. Hello, everybody. Now you should have sound on your live stream, and we should be cooking with grease over there. All right, so welcome into this Friday show. Into the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance across the great state of Mississippi. Feel free to be a part of the show. Comment on the live stream. Y'all can hear me now. And can you hear me now? Yes, you can. Text me also on the Country Pleasing text line, 885-ESPN, 601 number, 885-ESPN. Or call me. Love to hear your voice today. Call me on the Davini phone. Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson. Highway 51 Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson. The Davini phone here for the show is 995-1059. It's a 601 number, 995-1059. Hey, Bill, I heard Chris was getting lots of pats on the back from folks for having a full week of shows without missing one. Did you hear that?
He made it all 5 days.
All 5 days. Isn't that great?
It's like one in a row week.
Yeah, you hear? I heard that conversation towards the end there where on the air Chris was like, what do you think? I mean, what's next? After we go one full week, what's the next thing? Beaver goes, I don't know. Let me see if we can do 2 full weeks.
And then maybe a month.
Well, and
maybe a year.
Here's the thing, though. Okay, I bring that up not at all making fun of Chris, because I'm sort of announcing that I'm going to have to miss on Monday.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, unless something changes. I've had something come up that's going to – I'll be doing a little traveling on Monday. I actually have a graduation that I'm speaking at Monday night. But I have to be doing some traveling, and some things have come up that are going to – I'm afraid are going to keep me off the air on Monday. So – Bill, I know this is like your first year hearing of it, but I'm just letting you know because it just came up. And if something changes, not only will I let you know, Bill, but if something changes, y'all will hear me on Monday. I'll be here, but
yeah.
Otherwise, it looks like I may be out on Monday. So I can't.
You can text me and let me know for sure so I can make the changes.
That's it. Made. Absolutely. Yeah. Let you know for sure. So I guess what I'm saying is I cannot in any way make fun of Chris, because as of right now, next week won't be a full week for me, but we'll get through the weekend and look to be on with y'all on Tuesday. And if you'll follow me on Twitter, I'll give you a heads up one way or the other. If you don't already, I'm Radio Wyatt on Twitter. Okay, off we go with today's show. Enough about next week. Grumpy texted me really before we even started on the Country Pleasing text line. He said, Matt, Grumpy coming out of the dugout predicting Mississippi Valley State is going to steal a game from Jackson State for a big upset this weekend. He says Ole Miss is going to get at least 2 games from Texas A&M. And then he says, and the MSU Maroons will sweep the Gamecocks. And then he says, Grumpy not asking for much. So if we're looking for predictions right out of the dugout to begin the show today, here's what you have that he is predicting. So Jackson State, who has not lost a SWAC game all year in baseball, this is their final regular season weekend for getting a week off before the conference tournament. They are 21-0 in the SWAC, and beginning tonight at Brady Field, Jackson State is hosting Valley in baseball 3-game series. They are 15-1 this year at home. The one game they lost was a midweek game against Grambling way back in, I guess, early March. So they're 15-1 at home. They're 21-0 in the SWAC. And Grumpy is predicting that Valley is going to win a game and not get swept at Jackson State this weekend. We will see about that. Then he has Ole Miss winning, he says, at least 2 games at Texas A&M. Now, I think that's pretty – don't you feel like that's pretty safe to say that? I mean, A&M's coming off having been swept last weekend in Starkville on the road, and they go back home. Ole Miss goes in there. Ole Miss a much better team. Ole Miss got Elko back on the field last week. I don't know if he's in the lineup or what that situation is. He was not an every inning guy, but he pinch hit, I think, last weekend. But it's at Texas A&M. And so, you're saying they're going to get at least 2. You get a chance to watch 2 of those games. I'll give you the details coming up. And then he's got State going on the road and sweeping South Carolina. The thing about that is, you know, South Carolina is coming off having been swept last weekend on the road against Ole Miss. And, you know, it's a good team. They hit for power. Wes Clark leads the SEC in home runs. How many home runs he got? Wes Clark. He has 16 home runs. Okay, so the kids hit 16 home runs this year. They got another kid, Brady Allen, who's hit 11. They're a pretty doggone good offensive ball club. Got swept on the road last week at Ole Miss, and you think they're going to come – Grumpy is saying he thinks they're going to come home and get swept this weekend at home. I mean, hey, has South Carolina been swept back-to-back weekends at any point this year? I would bet they haven't. No. In fact, last weekend at Ole Miss was the only time they've been swept all year. So you think they're going to be swept? I don't think so. I think South Carolina will win 1 game, but I think State will win 2 out of 3. I don't know which 2. I think State will win 2 out of 3. That's about what it should. That's about what should happen, you know. So there you go. There's Grumpy's predictions right out of the chute. Jason in Flagstaff texted me and he said, I don't know if it's still there or not, but speaking of Mississippi food, he said the old Trailblazers truck stop just off of Highway 78 at Moorville used to be the Hillbilly Smorgasbord. They had almost everything made to order. Hey, Jason, so I guess that's from the previous show. They were talking about that, but I know exactly where you're talking about. Help me out here, Jason. If you're traveling east on Highway 78, like you're headed towards Fulton from Tupelo, like you're headed towards Birmingham, you know, you're headed east, right there at the Moorville exit. Was it on the right? Back up the hill up there, like up at the back end of that gravel parking lot? Because I've eaten in there before they closed it, and it was good. But maybe I'm thinking of a different place. So help me out. Look, and that's totally not here or there, but I will point out, I still have in the back of my head to go out and do this traveling video series of the best gas station food in Mississippi. Because some of the best food, period, you're going to find it in gas stations. Agreed on that? We agree? I think we do. Okay, Denzel brought something up there. He says, Matt, you were talking about the Hoover Met yesterday. Last time I went was 2017. Went to watch the Hoover Bucks versus the Thompson Warriors. Was absolutely blown away at the atmosphere. Yeah, they play high school football in there. So if you're wondering where that comes from, yesterday there was a conversation about the SEC baseball tournament. They're putting the tickets on sale beginning next week. SECticketoffice.com. You can see the info there. And, yeah, the Hoover Met, it's a baseball stadium, but they host Hoover High School football in there. You know, I guess they bring in some seats on one side, and then, you got a football stadium in there. In fact, so a lot of the press box area, which in baseball, you're kind of up above the first base bag, up on the first base side. But that's your home side of the football stadium running left to right, in your press box for football over there. It is. It's a good place. It's neat. They really do a fine job. That town does a fine job of utilizing that facility after the minor league team left there. The old Birmingham, Barons? Yeah, the Birmingham Barons, when Michael Jordan played for them. They've always been like a AA affiliate of the White Sox. I guess they still are. It's just they moved into a new ballpark in downtown. What do they call it? Regions Park down there? Yeah, so ever since that happened, the city of Hoover's done a nice job of figuring out what to do with that facility over there, Hoover Metropolitan Stadium. And if you're new to that conversation, so you got the SEC baseball tournament coming up at the end of the month. The last week of this month, it'll start on Tuesday, the 25th. And tickets that we saw, online tickets go on sale. If you want to buy an entire book, that means every game and every session, they call it. It's like $110. They go on sale next Tuesday morning. And then you have to wait another about 10 days, week and a half or more, before you can go in there and buy for a single session, which would be like a morning or an afternoon. It'd be worth 2 games. So with a little less seating, I guess, and but it didn't say that. I just figured it was a little less, but regardless, there's that information for you. And that website that, thank goodness, folks who listen to this show sent it to us, said yesterday that it was secticketoffice.com. So before I come to the rest of the comments right now, starting us off on the live stream and on the Country Pleasing text line, a bunch of stuff here to get to, let me give you the series that we have this weekend in SEC baseball. You've got Tennessee visiting Missouri. You got Mississippi State at South Carolina, as we mentioned earlier. You have Alabama that goes to Vanderbilt. So, Alabama's going to have their hands full. Alabama is an improved baseball team. They have looked improved, and, they're sitting there kind of middle of the pack in the SEC West. It's not an Alabama team that, came into the year with super duper high expectations. But I would say that to this point, it's like, I think maybe they're just slightly ahead of expectations. I think that's it. I think that's accurate. So, I'll just say it wouldn't surprise me all that much if Alabama were to figure out a way to win a game up there. At the same time, Vanderbilt shouldn't lose to that Alabama team, but it's baseball. You just never know. You have Georgia going to Arkansas this weekend. Good luck to the Georgia Bulldogs there. That'll be tough. As we mentioned, Ole Miss is at Texas A&M this weekend at Bluebell Park. I've never been there. I keep hearing great things about A&M's place, Bluebell Park. When you look it up, it says the seating capacity for that place is 6,000. Does that sound right to y'all? It seemed a little low, but that's what it says. Bluebell Park, 6,100 capacity. You would think it'd be a little more than that, but I keep hearing good things. And I know it's in a neat spot. I've been to their campus for football. I've glanced at it, but just never been in there for a baseball game. Florida is at Kentucky. They started that series last night, and Kentucky beat Florida. It was either like a 1-run game or tied up. It was really close late into that game. Kentucky kind of exploded late and really put a thumping on Florida last night. We'll go through scores later. But, yeah, so Kentucky's already up a game in that series. They'll play game 2 tonight. Same thing, LSU at Auburn. LSU went up in that series 1-0 last night with a win. They started it on Thursday. That was a 1-run game late, like into the 7th inning, and then I think LSU got a triple. Auburn walked, the bases full, and then bang, base-clearing base hit. Next thing you know, it's opened up, and they won it by 3 or 4 runs last night. LSU did, so they'll play game 2 tonight. I said Alabama's at Vanderbilt. Isn't that correct? Yeah, it is. That's right. Okay, just making sure. Okay, and we'll check it. Jonathan's telling me that now they are maybe changing the date on the ticket sales. So they've maybe switched it up on their website. Okay, we'll check into that, Jonathan. Thank you. All right, back over here to the text line. Starting off with you on a free-for-all Friday in the Bureau. Let's see what you got on your mind to start the show. Bill said, Matt, what do you think is the best way to get what? Revenue to the office of linemen who are blocking. Oh, offensive linemen who are blocking for these quarterbacks. Running backs, making it possible to complete passes to wide receivers. I don't know. Name, image, and likeness. And what about the offensive linemen? I don't know, Bill. I don't know the answer to that. Nobody does, for that matter. Gator Nation texted us. He said, TB12 the GOAT. Okay, I went ahead and gave your sign off first. Gator Nation said, been out of town and have not been able to contact you. My Bucks got the steal of the draft in Trask. He says he was at Ameristar cheering, going to learn from the greatest of all time. And then he says, have fun with what? Oh, he says, instead of saying Belichick, he's calling him Bella Crap. He said, Bella Crap overrated Jones. So he's saying Mac Jones is overrated. Gator Nation, are you proud of me? Because it takes, frankly, like mental surgery here to decipher what you just texted me. But I did a pretty good job, didn't I? In the future, would you make it easy on me? I mean, for Pete's sake, I'm trying to read this stuff live on the air. Like punctuation, something. Nicknames are hard, all that kind of stuff. All right, Fuji Sports Shooter, thanks for the picture. Send us a picture of the Hartfield Hawks, South State champs in baseball. Hats off to them. Thanks for the picture. Free American texted us. He said, at least you let us know. He just doesn't show up and we get national crap. Talking about Chris, so he didn't give you a heads up when he's going to be out. Man, sometimes things pop up, yeah. And I hate it. I can't pick on him. I got to miss also. Anthony from Tupelo says the one that we're talking about, the truck stop that Jason was talking about over at the Moorville exit on Highway 78 is not there anymore. That's what I thought. I mean, there's a little building up there on the back end of what used to be that truck stop, but it's not open, whatever. Hadn't been for years, but I do remember it for sure. My man Scott said, what's up, Mr. Matt? This is Mac, Scott's son. This is little Scott on the way to a Sporting Clay event, listening to the show, and we love it. Mac, thanks for texting, man, on the Country Pleasing text line. Shoot straight. Shoot straight. Sporting Clays. What a great sport. What a great sport. And I said little Scott, but you may be bigger than him by now. Who knows? I don't know. You might be. If you're not already, you may be someday. Doggone texted us. He said, Matt, do you think with the South Carolina coach changing up his pitching rotation as well as his batting is a sign of desperation and usually ends in disaster? No, I don't think that. Mississippi State, for instance, last weekend, doggone, switched up their batting order and who's starting where and swept Texas A&M. So it doesn't always end in disaster. You know, switching up a pitching rotation, too, it's not always disaster. Now, I know they're reportedly not doing it because of injury. I know that, but we've seen other teams this year. Ole Miss, an example of a team that had to switch it up from time to time because of little nagging soreness and not, I wouldn't say injury, but it messed up their rotation a few weekends, and they've survived that. You know, you just keep trying. And if you're coming off getting swept last weekend, you don't like the way you look, don't like the way it feels, what are you supposed to do as a coach? Change it up. I don't think that it means disaster. Now, is it desperation? Maybe at this point in the year, if you have to go switching up your pitching rotation, I don't think it means desperation. I just think it means you feel like you haven't figured it out yet. I'll say this. You get swept 2 weekends in a row, then things might get desperate, but I don't think they're there yet. Not back home. I think they're just tweaking it, seeing if they can't inject a little life into their baseball team, because he knows they're going to need it against State. Y'all stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true.
Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt.
Just answer the questions.
BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if you know who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out. Okay. And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, you know, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy, better buy, better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will...
Show on the 50,000 watt sports powerhouse. ESPN 105.9 The Zone and streaming.
Check it out online now
at thezone1059.com.
Back with you. Free for all Friday. Hit us up. Whatever. Hit us up. Comment on the live stream. If you're tuning in on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, I'm going to come to your comments in just a sec. You can text me on the Country Please and text line or call me as well. Text this number, 885-ESPN. That is a 601 number, 885-ESPN. Call me on the Davini phone, Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson, your Kubota dealer. Here's the number, 995-1059. It's a 601 number also, 995-1059. Jay in Baltimore texted, and he said, Matt, when's Mrs. Wyatt going to be making another appearance on the show? He says, I have Ole Miss-inspired rapid-fire questions. Well, I don't think it'll be today unless we get a pleasant surprise, and she just pops up in here into the bureau. But we don't have plans for her to be here, and I don't really know what she's doing. So I can't give you an answer. If it's not today, it'll likely be next Tuesday, Jay. So plan your questions accordingly. And Jay, I hope you enjoy the weekend. I hope you're getting to watch State and Carolina starting tonight. Are you going to go to, Jay, are you going to go to all games this weekend or just one or two? Let me know. Up there in Columbia, South Carolina. Ready Teddy texted the show, and he says, offensive linemen will use their name, image, and likeness to pitch gas stations with awesome food. That is a great idea. I mean, seriously, though, okay, Yesterday we're talking about Georgia's name, image, and likeness deal and some of the quirkiness in the wording and all. Okay, fine. But let's just back on up and look at this. And let's just go assumption, full-on assumption here, right? Me and you together, Teddy. That name, image, and likeness is going to happen. It's going to clear. And athletes in college will be able to take endorsements, make marketing deals, strike contracts on the marketing front. Would it not be genius for some local eating establishment? Seriously, to strike up a deal with an entire starting offensive line at one of these schools? Seriously, wouldn't that be smart? I think it would. Now, here's a question. If you're the restaurant, are you going to pay those offensive linemen in dollars? Or are you just going to trade it out for free food? Because, I don't know, that might not be a great idea. They could probably eat you out of business. Some of the guys I played with could have. I know could have. So you put a limit on it? You send them gift cards? Seriously. I mean, it's like, and if you're an offensive lineman, you take that. I just think that's a great possibility. I think we may shortchange the possibilities for some offensive linemen. This is what I have found in my career as a player, as a broadcaster, as an analyst, as a guy who's been around the team, on the plane, on the bus, at the practice field, and all that kind of stuff. Let me just tell you, the best people on your team are your offensive linemen. Every time. Every team. The most humble, easy to likable. Not everyone, but as a group. Okay, the group that has the most fun are your offensive linemen. Period. They're always together in groups of 3 minimum, 6, 7 at a time sometimes. They're always together, okay? They're not dealing with, as much anyway, the most negative part of your fan base, like the quarterback is or the coach, okay? And they kind of insulate each other. They have the most fun. They're always the one that, whether it's, the last 5 minutes of a 2-day practice and it's hot and awful, or they're sitting around in a facility waiting for meetings to start, they are the ones that always find something funny. They laugh their way through it. Offensive linemen, they have more fun playing football than anybody else. And 4 of them never touch the ball. And they get to eat. I think that's another thing about it. See, your offensive linemen are trying to put on weight. They're trying to add weight. So, yeah, there's a lot of lifting and stuff that goes into it. Supplements, stuff like creatine, all that kind of stuff. But they are charged with eating more most times. Maybe that's why they're happy. I just don't know. They just seem to be the happiest bunch on a football team. And I think maybe we're selling them short a little bit, just assuming that, they're not going to have any marketing opportunities. They're an offensive line. Well, hold on now. Hold on. Maybe not. Maybe not. Kyle. He's like, Hartfield beat Simpson? I think so. According to that picture we got, said they're state champs. Bernie texted us from Canada, and he says that the name, image, and likeness stuff is going to lead to a lot of IRS stuff. Has to, though, right? I mean, it has to. You can say it leads to IRS stuff. What it's going to lead to is a heck of an education. A financial education for a lot of college kids. Hold on a minute. What do you mean pay taxes on this? Wait a minute. What do you mean 40%? You struck a name, image, and likeness deal. Yeah, it's about like winning The Price is Right. You can go ahead and slash off about half of that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't understand tax brackets. Maybe I don't care. Bill says, Matt, since no one seems to have an answer on how to get a fair amount of revenue to these offensive linemen, what if you tweak the Georgia law and say that the money can be dispersed but has to stay within that sport or that team? That way, if a big-time quarterback is making some cash, at least it's being distributed amongst his teammates who are helping him. I don't know, you take it up with Georgia. They're the only ones that have had that weird clause in theirs that would allow them to redistribute it that I've seen. Seems like if that were in some of the other states' NIL legislation, that would have already been pointed out, like here in Mississippi. Jason in Flagstaff talking about the Peppertown exit or Morville off 78. It was good food. I do remember it. I've been there. It's just been years ago. That's a big old prime piece of real estate, too, sitting right off that major highway, right on that exit. Nothing there. Just a big gravel parking lot, what used to be a truck stop. That little place you're talking about is like a little cinder block building. And they had great barbecue. That's what I remember. Our man John Bond, talking about offensive line, he's now Bond, Coach Bond. He says, I never went anywhere without mine. Love the offensive line. I'm telling you, John, tell the truth. They always have more fun than everybody else. As a quarterback, you always had more fun when you were hanging out with your offensive line. Really. People would be surprised. Some people think, the whole group of quarterbacks probably hang out together. No, It didn't work that way. No. Now, I may be a little bit, biased in the whole thing that I'm saying about the offensive line because my roommate, when I arrived at college, they had already assigned roommates to you. And the first one I walked in the room, my first roommate was Paul Mooney, offensive lineman, who's one of the funnier human beings on the planet. One of those unique senses of humor. And so maybe I'm, predisposed to think that. Tyler, this may go somewhere interesting. Let's see. Tyler says on the text line, when my brother played for the Tupelo Fire Ants, one of the benefits was that sponsors provided players with vouchers for food. He and 3 others got asked to leave the KFC buffet because they were killing it. First of all, I didn't know KFC had a buffet ever. Wait a minute.
They do.
They still do?
Yeah, they have them all the time now. Well, they haven't had them here lately for the last year, but they used to have them right before the pandemic.
Yeah, before COVID, pre-COVID. I did not know you'd go up in a KFC and they had a buffet in there. So like all the chicken you can eat?
Well, kind of, yeah.
I mean, that would not work for a football team. They would clean you out. Apparently it's been around a while because the Tupelo Fire Ants haven't existed for about 20 years. So I'm the one out of the loop. Dog79 said, especially if you have a lineman named Pork Chop Womack from Dog79. Yeah, here's the thing. Pork Chop, we had him on the show recently, back maybe last fall. Anyway, Pork Chop. The thing is, everybody always thought it was Pork Chop who was the big eater. I mean, he could eat. He's offensive lineman, sure. But it really wasn't him who was shutting down buffets in Starkville. It was Randy Thomas. Randy Thomas played JUCO ball, then came to state, was either a first or second round draft pick for Bill Parcells and the Jets. Had a long NFL career. Randy Thomas, great guy, but he's the one who could eat and eat and eat and eat and just never stop, and it didn't matter. And we'd have these team meals where they'd serve like big steak and potatoes, and he'd eat 3 steaks, 4 steaks. They'd take him to like a buffet in town, and he'd just eat and eat. And there was one, I think it was like Asian food, and they said, you got to go. You got to leave. That's it. I know it says all you can eat. It doesn't apply to you. You're out. Yeah, that was Randy Thomas. There's a blast from the past. You're talking about a great football player. Offensive guard. All right. What are they saying on the live stream? We'll see. Next. Stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Arrived today. Jeans do come true. Thank you, Blue Delta. Yeah, jeans do come true. That's what the bag says.
Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi, my hometown. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. Again, that's if you listen to me, you can use discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, and at checkout, you're going to get a 10% discount off your order. So I just went online, ordered them, BlueDeltaJeans.com a couple weeks ago. Went in, I didn't go get measured. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are at my doorstep a couple weeks later. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Nice. I'm happy. I've known the Blue Delta team for years, and I'm thrilled to have these guys on as a sponsor of this show. Blue Delta's Virtual Tailor is a fun and easy way to get yourself into the best fitting pair of jeans you're ever going to own.
Bet you never thought you'd get a butt shot out of me, huh? How about that? Just answer the questions, and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better.
So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions. It's amazing how they do it. They will fit perfectly. You're not going to find better material and better feeling pants, period, anywhere. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. I promise you that. And I know that you are going to love them too. Make sure you use the code. And remember, jeans do come true.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today, and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O Instant Pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good busy day dessert. Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Mississippi.
Online transmission is ready, sir.
Live online at thezone1059.com and
Keep your radio turned on
to ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
All right, so you got State and Ole Miss both on the road this weekend in college baseball. Southern Miss will be at home in Hattiesburg. They're hosting Middle Tennessee State. You know, Conference USA, a little bit of a different setup this year than other conferences. Any of the CUSA schools have the ability to schedule midweek games if they want to, but not required to. And they're playing 4 games per weekend in conference. Okay, so instead of a 3-game series, normally like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're getting 4 games every weekend. It involves a lot of double headers and that kind of stuff. And Southern Miss is going to host Middle Tennessee State. It starts tonight. They are scheduled to play 2 tomorrow, another on Sunday. We'll see if all 3 get in. I haven't looked that far ahead. I just know I saw a few things that certain parts of Mississippi may get some rain this weekend, but, whatever. There are 4 games scheduled, but Southern Miss lost in the midweek back on Wednesday night, a close game to Selah, Southeastern Louisiana from Hammond, 5-3 in a midweek. So they lose that midweek game to Southeastern Louisiana. So when you check up to the current RPI stuff, I've kind of tracked it with you. We come back on Mondays, take a look at RPIs and stuff after weekend results. And but the midweek games factor in also. I mean, it's game to game. It can ebb and flow game to game. Right now, going into the weekend, Mississippi State is sitting there at number 3 in the country in RPI. Ole Miss is sitting there at number 10. They jumped a bunch of spots last week after sweeping South Carolina. But Southern Miss, including a midweek loss, is down some. They're down to number 24 in the RPI. So they're kind of out of the hosting conversation. And hosting Middle Tennessee at home is not going to help them there really that much in the RPI stuff. So, you feel like they're probably just, opponents, all that stuff factoring in, and then, you lose a midweek game. You just feel like Southern Miss is going to be kind of on the outside looking in at the hosting conversation, but they're in the tournament squarely as a 2 seed somewhere if they just keep winning. Just wanted you to have an update that as of today, going into the weekend, they are down. Basically, losing to Southeastern Louisiana moved them down 1 spot. Okay, but over the course of the week, if you look from this week back to last, so including last weekend, they're down 4 spots. Just to show you how it can ebb and flow just a little bit there. Arkansas, the number 1 RPI team in the country, TCU number 2, State at number 3, and Vanderbilt at number 4. Jason in Flagstaff's on the phone with us, calling from a long ways off. Hey, Jason, what's up?
Nothing much. I think I confused you there. The Trailblazers, if you're coming from Tupelo, it used to be, just immediately right off the 78 exit, you turned right, going to Marble, and you had to turn right immediately into that big parking lot. It was before you went up the hill.
Oh, okay. So I guess I'm not familiar with that one then. The one I was talking about is back up the hill a little bit. They got that huge gravel parking lot, and it seemed like there used to be some gas pumps up there. Yeah. But again, this has been 15 years ago.
Yeah, you're 99% right. It was just right before you went up that big hill.
Okay.
The other thing I was mentioning was that there was a newer thing right before I left, and I can't remember what exit it was, whether it was Peppertown or Orville, but it's on the north side.
Okay.
Like going to Manhatchee side.
Uh-huh.
And it tucked into the woods there with a great big long driveway. You can see it from the highway. It's a big metal building. And it's like a fish and steakhouse or something.
Really?
And,
okay.
Yeah, we ate there after church a couple of times right before I left. And it's just like Trailblazers, same menu and everything. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I'm not familiar with the one on the north side there. Yeah. Hey, but look, say what you want. In this state, this, Jason, and you've traveled a lot. Maybe it's this way in Texas. Maybe it's this way in other places. I just know it's this way in Mississippi. A lot of the, some people might look down their nose at it, but a lot of the best food you can get your hands on is coming out of gas stations. There's so many people going in there, and it's like a supply and demand thing. If there's a demand, they're going to supply some good food. And it's interesting, but that's where a lot of the best chicken and that kind of stuff comes from.
Hey, man, when I'm traveling, I live at a Love's Travel Stop or one of those Pilot Flying J stores. They know how to cook.
Yeah. I tell you what I appreciate at the Love's, and I guess it goes for Pilot too, some of the bigger ones, is the fact that they give you some healthy stuff too. Like if you want bananas and apples and fruit and grapes and and you don't want to eat just like fried pizza rolls, okay? Or fried chicken. They give you some options in there. It's like almost like a quasi grocery store. I appreciate that about them.
Yeah. But you gonna pay for it though.
Oh, hey, They know if you're buying this, you're paying whatever. So, hey, they get you for sure.
Yeah, they do.
Thanks,
All right.
Jason. Appreciate the call.
I know if you're looking for a good BLT, the tomato place in Vicksburg.
The what?
The tomato place in Vicksburg.
Okay. And where is that?
It's on 61 south of Vicksburg.
Okay. The tomato place.
Yeah, you can go in there and get fried green tomatoes, BLTs.
Really?
BLTs. They sell canned jellies and all that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh. Are you a big fan of a BLT made with a fried green tomato?
That I've never had, but I've heard they're really good.
Yeah, I think I saw that on Facebook or something, and it kind of piqued my curiosity, but I haven't gone so far as to try it.
If you ever watched the Duck Dynasty show, they went to the tomato place one time. They drove from Monroe to there to get lunch.
To get it?
Yeah,
That's
during an
pretty
episode
cool.
of the show, they decided they were going to go to the tomato place in Vicksburg.
That's pretty cool.
So they drove from West Monroe all the way to Vicksburg.
Well,
just
it
to
must
get
be
lunch.
good then. It must be good then. Well, I'm going to try it. We spent a lot of time in Vicksburg, but I've never gone there.
I was going to say, I can't believe you've never been there.
That I know of. I guess I've never been there.
I
I'll
bet
have
the
to try.
homecoming queen knows about it.
Oh, I guarantee you. She knows. I'll have to ask her about that. We'll try it maybe the next time we're there. Okay, live stream. What have I missed? Here on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, everybody saying, hey, what's up? What all? Ryan on Facebook says, if Arkansas goes 6-3 and State goes 8-1 over the last 9 games, is State the number 1 national seed, or at a minimum, ranked ahead of Arkansas nationally? Well, I mean, it sort of depends on what Arkansas has left, though, right? I mean, we know what State has left. What do they have left? Arkansas. Who's Arkansas playing this weekend? Georgia? All right, so Arkansas is about to play 3 against Georgia. And then Arkansas State in the midweek. Then they'll go to Tennessee, and then they'll host Florida. Well, look, they're going to beat Georgia minimum 2 out of 3 this weekend. You feel like you ought to believe that. Georgia went to Vanderbilt and took 2 out of 3. The only other SEC team out there to take a series this year from Vandy, Georgia must be capable, right? It must be capable. But you would think Arkansas has the advantage there at home this weekend, and then it's on the road to Tennessee, and that's a good enough Tennessee team to maybe take a bite out of Arkansas if they play well. Florida will wrap the season up in Fayetteville, but again, you feel like Florida's good enough to maybe go in there and take a bite out of Arkansas if things fall their way. So it's possible. And I guess, in your scenario, Ryan, you're just talking about, okay, Arkansas losing 1 game this weekend, 1 against Tennessee and 1 against Florida maybe, and not sweeping anybody. And you would have to pair that in your scenario here with State going 8-1 in these remaining series, and that's this weekend at South Carolina. Back home next week to host Missouri for 3, and finishing up the season at Alabama for 3. Now, Alabama's been pretty good this year, like I said. They were swept at home earlier in the year by Ole Miss, but I think that's the only time they've been swept this year at home. But could State realistically, in that stretch of 9 games, 3 against South Carolina, 3 against Missouri, and 3 against Alabama, only lose 1 game? Yes, that's possible. It definitely is possible. It's going to be really tough for State to do that, Ryan, given that 2 of these 3 remaining series are on the road. Okay, that's going to be tough. But, you're doing the math. State's sitting there right now 1 game behind Arkansas. Your scenario, they would not only catch them, but they'd finish 1 game ahead over here on the West. And you're saying if they do this and they finish 1 game ahead of them, even though Arkansas would have swept them in the regular season in Starkville, is State the number 1 national seed, or at minimum ranked ahead of Arkansas nationally? I think if we get to that point, they may have State ranked ahead of them nationally for sure. Whether they jump them in the seeding, that I don't really know. I hesitate just because of the whole head-to-head thing, because you do have a committee that's going to seed them. It's people that's going to do it, not a computer ranking. But in the rankings, you know, they may do that, put them ahead, because that's probably the top 25 stuff probably has a much more of a recency bias than the actual seeding. That's just kind of the way I think about it. Love to know if you think I'm wrong. We can get into that and more as we forge ahead on this Free for All Friday. Your comments, your texts, and your phone calls will start us off in hour number 2, right around the corner. Y'all stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country pleasing sausage is outstanding whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me. Davini Equipment, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson, Highway 51 in Madison. Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if, you know, who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Jeans do come true.
Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. BlueDeltaJeans.com. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta.
Just answered the questions, and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better.
So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions, use this code. Use the code, you're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn, and I know that you are going to love them too.
That's why we bought it.
Sound system by Bang & Olufsen, and an available heated leather-wrapped steering wheel with paddle shifters. The 2020 Ford Explorer, completely redesigned and more comfortable than ever. It's the greatest exploration vehicle of all time.
WRKS Pickett's Jackson.
Time.
It's time to get back to the Matt Wyatt Show.
Live in the studio.
Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Hey, everybody. Hour number 2 off and running. Special guest in the studio making an appearance. The homecoming Kurt.
Not guest.
All right, well, look.
Just say friend of the show.
It's just a word.
Just a friend of the show.
Just because I say special guest.
Yeah, well, that makes people's expectations go, woohoo, wonder who's on, what coach, what athletic director, and then you go.
You are the most requested thing on this show. I've had somebody text already and say, when is she going to be on?
Oh.
That's the truth.
Okay.
Bill, I'm not lying, am I?
Friend of the show,
no,
Bill.
He's not lying.
Bill, I like to be called a friend of the show.
All right,
Friend of the show. Yeah. Okay, stay in your lane, man.
Stay in your lane. That's right,
The best
Bill.
looking part of this radio show.
Well, there you go.
In fact,
No doubt about that.
for proof,
Yeah.
and I wasn't able to give him a heads up, it was our friend Jay in Baltimore, Maryland, who listens, texts, and calls, who said, hey, when's Mrs. Wyatt going to be on the show? Because he wanted to do some rapid-fire questions about Ole Miss.
Oh, gosh.
Turns out he just happens to be hanging on the phone line.
Oh, no. I might not know the answers.
Right. You don't have to know.
Okay.
You just got to have an opinion.
Oh,
He's on the
okay,
phone line, the Davini phone line right now, and has been hanging on for several minutes.
Oh, my
Jay,
gosh. Hey, Jay.
this worked out well, didn't it?
It sure did. How are you, Mrs. Wyatt?
Hey, Jay. How are you? I'm good.
I'm good. Yeah, so I'm actually over here, Matt, to answer your question. So just got into Columbia, looking to go just to tonight's game.
Okay.
And then I'm going to be heading over to Mississippi for a few days to see the family, and then up to the Missouri game next Thursday.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
exciting.
That's great. That's great. Well, I hope you have safe travels, and I hope you enjoy a win tonight for the Bullies.
I'm looking forward to it. So, yes, I have rapid-fire questions inspired Ole Miss by Ole Miss. So are you ready?
Oh, my. Are you ready? Am I supposed to do a hottie-toddy? Matt might turn my mic off if I start doing hottie-toddy cheer.
We can't say bad words on the radio.
All right. Well, here we go. Mike Bianco, who I am a big fan of, has skippered the Rebels for 20 years. I think he's in his 21st year. Now, he's only made one College World Series. Before he retires, will it be 0, 1, or 2 appearances in the College World Series for Mike Bianco?
Oh, wow. That's a good question, Matt. Well, who knows when he's going to retire? I think it'll be 2.
Okay, so have
I
one
think it'll
more.
be 2. I would love for it to be this year, but I don't know.
Hey, mark my words. They're going this year.
They are. Okay. I hope he gets 2, Jay.
They got a good chance. They got a good chance. I'm rooting for 0. Of course, I'm All right. Question number 2. Now, I don't think John Rice Plumlee is going to see the NFL or Major League Baseball, but what do you think? John Rice Plumlee got a better chance of making it to single-A baseball, minor leagues, or the XFL? I'm not even sure that exists anymore. But football or baseball, best chance of John Rice Plumlee playing a professional level?
My first thought would be baseball, Matt. What would yours be?
Yeah, I think I would absolutely agree with that.
Baseball. What a great question.
However, you know, the caveat, the asterisk there is, Jay. Now, look, you're not asking me.
Yes, he's asking us both. I need your input.
But I can tell Annabeth wants my input on this. If they go permanent move, this is a permanent move. He is a receiver, and he would actually put in the time to learn to be like a slot / type receiver. That could maybe change the way you answer it. And I'm not trying to get you off track here, but I just thought I'd tell you. I saw this stat on Twitter just a little bit ago from Coach Dan Casey on Twitter. He's in North Carolina, and he's one of these people that he's been around football. But how about this? The average size of wide receivers drafted in the first and second round in 2007, that long ago, the average size was 6'2", 206, first and second round receivers. This past year, 2021, the average wide receiver size, first and second round, 5'11", 186.
What?
Yes. How about that?
Wow.
That's interesting.
That's interesting. And look, with his speed, there's no question. I think football as well. All right, question number 3. Worst attempt at a nickname, Black Bears or Land Sharks?
Oh, my gosh. You may be asking the wrong rebel on
Stay
this.
in your lane, dude. Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
Jay, I'm not a fan of either, but I would have to go with the bear.
Yes, worse.
Oh,
Okay.
the bear.
Yeah, I'm torn on that one.
The bear.
All right, so you two are both Major League GM in next year's upcoming draft. You need a pitcher, regardless, left, right. Who are you going with, Hoagland or Nikhazy?
Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
Matt, I have no idea on this one.
Yeah, I would say Hoagland.
Hoagland?
Okay, Hoagland. She's going with Hoagland.
That's a good call. I'm such a big fan of Nikhazy, but I think Hoagland has the Major League Baseball, higher ceiling for sure.
Right.
All right. Last question. And, Matt, let me just say up front, I am against alcohol abuse at all levels. There's no bigger abuse of alcohol than what's going on in Oxford with their alleged beer showers. So I think even Oxford folks know this as well. So what percentage of fans out there are just throwing water and not wasting a good beer?
What percent are throwing water? Oh, that's so funny. 0.
0. She thinks it's the real thing.
I think it's the real thing.
The real thing.
Well, a million years ago, Jay, when I set out in the outfield, it was the real thing. Maybe they've wised up and they're using water now. I don't know.
That's funny.
Oh, nothing. Yeah. Well, I appreciate the time. And yes, by the way, my daughter, I'm flying her down to Jackson on Sunday. So she's driving with me, and I'm going to make her drive all the way back. So I'm not making her drive all the way from Maryland back. So she's only going to do one leg.
What a sweet dad. I hope you'll tweet Matt a picture or something. That's awesome. That'll be a fun trip for y'all.
No, we're looking forward to it. Let me know if you're in the park on next Thursday. Love to connect.
All right.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Jay.
Matt.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Jay.
Yeah, safe travels.
He's a great caller. Those are the best.
All right. I don't know if you heard this last night, Annie. We were at a place, we were around some folks here having dinner or whatever, and some of the people we were with had a young son. He still had his baseball uniform on, and he plays youth baseball.
Yeah.
And they're Ole Miss fans, right? They go to some Ole Miss games. And I don't know if you heard this, and I forget who else he was telling me and somebody else, but the kid who's probably 10, 11?
The young one, yeah.
Well, anyway, he says they were talking about they had gone to a game. They went to a game and earlier this year, and they were a little surprised at how full everything was. The student section was packed, and the kid immediately goes, "Yeah, and our student section was bummed. They were super bummed out." And we wondered why he said that. And maybe it was his dad said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, because Ole Miss hit so many home runs and they kept having to throw their beer in the air that they ran out of beer.
I didn't hear him.
So, which it's probably a little hyperbole in there, but the kid thought Ole Miss had hit so many home runs in that particular game. It must have been several.
Oh, my gosh. I didn't hear that. That's funny.
He thought they had actually run out of beer. They had to throw so much of it in the air.
The sad thing is, I'm not sure they would ever run out there.
They are probably prepared.
Yeah, I think so.
No doubt.
That's funny. I didn't hear that.
I thought this was interesting on the live stream. Caleb watching on YouTube. Somebody brought up a while ago a scenario where if State goes 8-1 in its last SEC games, Arkansas were to go 6-3, State could jump them. Would State be the 1 seed? And how this? Caleb responded to this and says, "I've lost the desire to be ranked number 1 in baseball ever since 2006. Started the year on an 18-game win streak. Baseball America ranked State number 1 in the country, and at the end of the year, they didn't even make the SEC tournament. That's how flat that team fell." And then he followed it up and said, "It only matters if you're number 1 at the end."
Yeah, he's right.
Isn't he right?
You've talked about that before.
Yeah, and this baseball stuff, as much as anything, will just fool you.
It's so up and down, isn't it?
It really is.
What is Ole Miss ranked right now?
Well, they are in the top 15.
25, 50?
Oh, yeah.
50?
No, top 15.
Okay.
They're definitely in the top 15. I'll give you the rankings. There's 2 ways to look at rankings in baseball. One is the same as basketball and the same as football. They do a poll, Okay, you got
Right.
these. In baseball, you have several quote unquote top 25 polls that people pay attention to.
The baseball, what is it, USA?
You got Baseball America,
Baseball America.
which is a part of USA Today.
Okay.
And then you got collegiate baseball, but in more recent years, what I was telling you about this morning, D1baseball.com has sort of taken over as the kind of the preeminent poll out there. So they've done a really good job. So they do a top 25, and it's a ranking. It's just a poll.
Are you going to give me the list, or are you just going to keep talking about it?
Ole Miss is ranked number 12.
Oh, okay.
In the D1 baseball
Where's
poll.
State, though? They're ranked way.
They're ranked number 4.
4.
In the D1 baseball poll. But Vandy is number 2, and Arkansas is number 1.
Really?
In that poll.
So in the top 5, there's 3 SEC teams?
Bingo.
That's good.
But the poll doesn't matter as much as the RPI ranking. The Ratings Percentage Index, which factors in the strength of your schedule and the strength of your opponents and how many road games you won, how many home games you won. And it factors in your wins were against bad teams, but your losses were against good teams. All this different stuff. It's a computer deal. It actually matters a little more than the top 25 poll. And in the RPI rankings, Arkansas is 1, State is 3, Vanderbilt is 4, Ole Miss is 10.
Does the SEC always have several teams in the top 10?
Yeah. SEC baseball is a big deal. Best facilities, best coaches, best fan bases, therefore the best players.
Right.
Pretty much. It's interesting how it mirrors kind of football in that regard. Pro players, prospects, attendance, revenue, and all that kind of stuff.
What about Alabama? How are they in baseball? I know you visited with their coach not long ago.
Coach Bohannon. I really think a lot of him. He's doing a good job at Alabama. They have a lot of limitations other schools don't have. Another story for another day. But they're up there in the RPI. They're in really good shape. They're somewhere close to the top 25 in the RPI rankings. They're not ranked a top 25 team and probably shouldn't be. But they're going to be in the NCAA tournament with a chance to try to, play themselves into a super regional, see if they can get 2 wins and go to Omaha. They
when is that? I know the SEC is at the end of May.
Well, we have so look at it this way. The month of May is for the remaining regular season and the conference tournament.
And then June is the
right.
Okay.
The 1st of June will start the postseason.
Okay.
That'll be
super regionals.
Regionals, then super regionals, then Omaha.
So it ends by the end of June. Everything's wrapped up. Or does it go?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the College World Series wraps up in June.
Okay.
Anybody out there know the dates? Let me look. I'm Googling.
Are you Googling?
College World Series 2021. Let's look at the schedule. Here it is. Yeah, okay, so selection show. Opening celebration, June the 18th. First day of games, June the 19th. And the College World Series finals, that'll be a best-of-3 series when they narrow it down to 2 teams, will start on Monday, June the 28th.
Well, okay.
So it won't carry over into July.
Okay.
As it stands right now, college baseball starts in February, ends at the end of June.
You know what I always get confused on as far as seasons and how they last is basketball. Like the NBA, the NBA, I feel like I've never understood that.
You know why?
It just goes on and on, and then I'm like, aren't they done?
They basically play all year.
It's ridiculous. Everybody else picks a season, and they just seem to just trickle over into other people's seasons.
Look.
Do you not think that?
It does. So they started in the fall, the NBA season. They ended in June, late June.
I really quit watching that. Michael Jordan was my favorite.
Yeah.
I used to like to watch when the Bulls came in and the lights were off and they'd flash the lights, and I just thought it was the coolest thing.
We're spoiled. He ruined us. Jordan did.
He's the best.
Like if you grew up in the era of Michael Jordan and you saw him play,
it's just, why are you watching it now?
You can't hang into it. Like it's just a letdown.
It is.
But
Scottie Pippen.
So John Pitts, the sports editor, Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal, funny guy on Twitter. Several years ago, you had that phenomenal NBA Finals between LeBron and the Cleveland Cavaliers versus Steph and the Golden State Warriors, and
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a great finals. And as soon as it ended, that night, like they're having a post game, as soon as it ended, John Pitts tweeted, "Sad that this NBA Finals is over, but the good news is, pause. NBA preseason games start next week." That's about what it's like.
Never really understood it.
Yeah, that's about what it's like. Let's see what we have on the Country Pleasing text line. Country Pleasing sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. I'm a huge fan of jalapeno and cheddar.
And
Just
you're
looking
gonna take me to the store. We're gonna get when we go down to Vicksburg next. You said we're going.
You're not going to believe it.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Hey, speaking of Vicksburg, the tomato place. Bill brought that up earlier.
Yeah. Bill, have you been inside it? Have you
Oh,
eaten?
yes.
Well, see,
Yes.
you've had more experience there than I have because I've just pulled up and gotten a smoothie, or we've pulled up and gotten stuff. I've never actually sat inside it.
Yeah,
It
tell them
kind of,
tell them what it looks like.
I mean, it looks like a little shack. You
Okay.
would, if you didn't
With a
know
bunch
what
of
it,
junk sitting around outside.
yeah, if you didn't know what it was, you would just drive by and go, "Oh, that's okay."
All right, where is it? Okay, you remember like it was last year.
61 South. Like you've
your
seen,
mother and I left, and we went to a fruit stand where they were selling.
Matt, that's where you went.
Is that
That's
where we
you
went?
You went
That's
there.
Okay, I went in and bought tomatoes and
Bill,
I
Bill.
bought tomatoes and peaches
That's
and
where you
other
went.
stuff.
That's where you went.
Some
And
of the
inside
best
is a little
produce.
restaurant. Like you can
Yeah.
eat.
Okay, I didn't realize. So that's where it was.
People love it.
Well, I have been there, Bill.
How about that? You didn't realize you were there.
Right there on the top of the hill.
Yeah, they have lots of great. The tomatoes there are fantastic.
Uh-huh.
I don't know where they grow them.
Yeah.
We'll have to
They're
we'll have to
really good.
research that. I don't know where they
your
grow those either.
If your name is the tomato place,
They
Probably.
better be good.
the tomatoes
yeah.
have to be good.
They should.
Bill was telling me that there was an episode of Duck Dynasty where the Duck Dynasty
Where they
guys
went there?
from Monroe
No.
drove all the way to Vicksburg just to go to this place.
No, I
and
didn't
to
know
get
that.
lunch. Yeah,
I
to
did
get
not
lunch.
know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people love it.
Look, Bill, they had to have some other business in Vicksburg, and that they just made that show out to look like they drove up there for lunch.
No, they had nothing else to do. They just, suddenly they were sitting in that back room, they were always in.
Yeah, and they were like,
said,
"Let's go."
Where are we going for lunch today? And one of them said, I know this great place we can go over in Vicksburg.
I love it.
And
I
they
love
went.
it. And hey, they can, and the cameras just follow,
Hey, look,
and we watch.
here's what you want. You want to get life to a point like those guys where you got so much so much money just oozing out of your bank account that you've got so much that you don't have to worry about time. There is no deadline. It's middle of the week, and you go.
you
"What do
make
want
the
for lunch?"
deadlines. Yeah,
I don't know. Let's drive 2 hours away.
let's go.
What do you mean? Let's just drive up there, eat, and come back. Yeah, that's what you want.
Well, my favorite guy on there is always Uncle Si.
Yeah,
Si is just a hoot.
he
Is that show still like? Is it just reruns or is it?
Well, I don't think they're doing shows anymore.
Okay, yeah. I didn't-
They have.
They show it on Fox Nation now. The reruns. Of it.
Oh,
Listen, though, I
and,
highly
and
recommend
there's a
it.
podcast.
They have spun it off into a very successful podcast
That's a
called.
good pod. Yeah, that's
It's called Unashamed, and I highly recommend it
yeah, you like it.
because
I've watched
basically
it,
they
yeah.
sit around and shoot the bull for about 20 minutes, and then every episode they dive into real, sure enough Bible study,
Yeah,
and I highly
Phil.
recommend it.
yeah.
As usual,
Mm-hmm.
when the homecoming queen shows up, so does Thibodeau.
Thibodeau.
On the Davini Equipment
What do you
phone
know,
line.
Thibodeau?
What you know, Thibodeau? What's up?
How's everybody doing?
Hey, Thibodeau.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
What's up?
Happy Friday.
Okay, good. Same to you. I'm going to echo your comments on the Unashamed podcast. I discovered it by happenstance last May, and I have listened to every single one they've ever put out.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
it is.
But a little bit of news on the Thibodeau front. I am on the way to the beautiful town of Clinton, Mississippi,
Oh,
to watch my gorgeous bride walk across the stage and grab her diploma.
oh, that is
boy.
wonderful. At MC or
Yeah, she did the same program that I did at Mississippi College.
oh,
I transferred everything from community college in Mississippi State to Mississippi College and finished up with a bachelor's in business, and she did the same thing
only hers was online. So,
oh,
but she
congratulations!
I'm really proud of her. And look, she's not listening, so I can tell you this. She is going to be gifted a 2-night bed and breakfast stay from me, and I can't decide if I want to do Vicksburg or Natchez.
Well, you cannot go wrong in either place. I was born in Natchez and then grew up in Vicksburg, and you can't go wrong.
So you're just a complete river rat.
I mean, I really am. No, look, I tell you,
is.
Matt and I went to Monmouth in Natchez. That was a neat place. I don't know if y'all have been there, but that was fun. We stayed there. That was a wedding gift from some of my family in Natchez.
And getting to stay there, what would you say, 2 nights? One night, 2 nights?
That was fun.
It was fun. It really was. Ate some
Well,
good
she's
food.
She's got a big just love for small towns and boutique hotels and bed and breakfast and that kind of thing. So anytime we take a trip, we always try to figure where somewhere about, half a day's drive or less, and what old house can we stay in?
Oh,
Wow.
well,
That's her thing. She loves it.
well, and Vicksburg has a lot of good shopping downtown. If you stay in a home downtown, there's a lot of fun shopping and great restaurants. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, we'll pick one of the 2 towns and
Keep us
go
posted.
down there and stay in a neat place and eat a bunch of good food.
Whenever we go to Vicksburg, Thibodeau, the girls go to like the Cinnamon Tree or something,
yeah.
and I go to the military park. That's how we split up in
Matt
Vicksburg.
exercises, and we go downtown and we shop and eat, and he exercises off my
Hey,
calories.
Thibodeau, congratulations, man.
Congrats.
Thanks for calling. Natchez history. Just saw this a minute ago on Twitter. On this day in 1840,
Yeah.
a tornado
Oh, gosh.
struck Natchez, Mississippi, and killed 317 people.
Oh, no.
On this day in 1840.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Debbie Downer.
Well, I'm sorry, I just saw it. It's on this day in 1840.
Thanks for reporting that.
Thought you
Take the
wanted-
show right down to the
Yeah.
bottom
just-
there.
Yeah,
thought y'all
thank you. Thanks, Bill.
Want to know your history?
So you might need to just get on out of this segment.
Apparently not. Don't want to be educated. That's fine. Y'all,
Oh.
for more nuggets of info like that, stick around.
Now's the time.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Better buy Birdseye. Better buy Birdseye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard fresh and delicious.
Better buy Birdseye. Better buy Birdseye.
Now, if you know your oats and want to feel your oats and taste how good an oat cereal can be, well, you'll go for Cheerios. Great way to start the day with really great eating. That's Cheerios, one of the few foods made from oats. The tasty cereal grain everyone should have at breakfast. Crisp and golden as only a toasted oat cereal can be. And nourishing? Why, a Cheerios breakfast gives you the power protein that grown-ups need to help stay in trim and youngsters need to grow on. Toasted oat goodness, toasted oat flavor, a delicious power breakfast. That's Cheerios.
Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today, and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
Is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O Instant Pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good, good busy day dessert. Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Brace yourself. Now back to the Matt Wyatt Show.
All right, enjoyed our time here in the Bureau with the homecoming queen. She has moved on to bigger and better things, so we enjoyed about 20 minutes with Annabeth on the show. Here in the Farm Bureau studio, Farm Bureau Insurance. Go! With the home team. Speaking of insurance, is this covered? Headline from the BBC. You know what that is if you ever listen to the BBC. Debris from a Chinese rocket is expected to fall back to Earth in an uncontrolled re-entry this weekend. Nobody knows where it's going to land. The United States said yesterday that it's watching the path of the object, but currently had no plans to shoot it down. Here's my question. It's falling anyway. Why are we considering shooting it down? It's coming down anyway. Dumb. Quote from U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. Side note, the name Lloyd, it's a lot like the name Larry. The world's full of them, but you'll never, ever find a toddler named Lloyd. Where are they coming from? Okay, quote, we're hopeful that it will land in a place where it won't harm anyone. This is way too nonchalant for me, considering the possibilities. The thing weighs 2 tons. It's 10 stories tall and weighs 2 tons. That's U.S. tons. Now, over there in Great Britain, it's a different measuring system, right? Like, they spell it differently, and it's 18 tons over there, but it's spelled Tonnes. Isn't that different? I know the thing is very heavy and is 10 stories tall. And all this man can say about it is, we hope it doesn't land where it hurts anybody. I'm serious. I read the quote. Here's the follow-up quote. I'm sure somebody said, what do you mean? You hope it doesn't land where it harms anybody. Well, here's a follow-up quote. Here it is. Quotations. Hopefully in the ocean or someplace like that. Time out. What do you mean, someplace like that? Name someplace that's like the ocean. What is going on? I'm dead serious when I say, what is going on with this?
It's always great when a government official just gives you so much confidence.
I'm talking about, can you be any less committal or nonchalant about a 10-story, 2-ton rocket falling in your country?
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
We're hopeful that it will land in a place where it won't harm anyone. Well, guess what, Lloyd? That makes 2 of us. What do you mean, what do you mean? In a place where it won't harm anyone? Of course. Quote, well, hopefully in the ocean. Or, someplace like that. What do you mean, someplace like that? There is no someplace like the ocean. Dadgum, man. I mean, look, and you're like, Matt, this could potentially be serious, and you're sitting here laughing about how you going to feel about it when you come back on the show on Monday or Tuesday, and this thing has fallen in a populated area and actually hurt people, and you were laughing about it on Friday. Look, what else you going to do? You're not shooting it down. The defense secretary does not really care. Can't do anything but laugh. A 10-story Chinese rocket. What is that? Is that a hawk? No. It's a 2-ton Chinese rocket. Run. I'm telling you, man. They don't know where it's going to land. Various space debris modeling experts are pointing to late Saturday or early Sunday as the likely moment of re-entry. However, such projections are always highly uncertain. I mean, come on now. What are we doing? China? What are you doing? 10-story rocket. Don't know where it's going to land. I mean, seriously, what are you going to do? What is anybody going to do? This has to be a bigger deal than some people are making it out to be. All right, I'm done with it. Done with it. Moving on. We got sports stuff here. It's on the Country Pleasing text line. I'm going to it right now. Jason, one last thing. Jason brings up a good point on Facebook when he says, even if it hits the ocean, think about the wave that thing's going to cause. All I can picture is some poor guy, he's out there in his boat. Sploosh. All right. Country Pleasing text line, 885-ESPN. I told you it was a free-for-all Friday. 885-ESPN. Pat says, Matt, I know you study a lot of quarterback film. Who do you like more, Miles Brennan or Max Johnson? Well, probably right now. I mean, if you're looking at it strictly from a 2021 LSU perspective, probably at this point, Miles Brennan, a little older. He was more productive in a shorter period of time last year. I mean, Brennan put up better numbers in 3 games than Johnson did in 6, frankly. But I think long-term, Johnson's probably the guy who might have, a higher ceiling. So from an LSU perspective, you probably like Miles Brennan better right now. Long-term, you probably like Max Johnson. How's that answer for you? Bernie from Canada said, by the way, Canada is my last name. Thanks, I live in Bartlett, Tennessee. That's from Bernie. Well, Bernie, somebody typed it in here that way. I'll give credit to somebody like Beaver, where one day you told him your name was Bernie Canada, and he went in there and made it look like it's Bernie from Canada. I'll credit Beaver with that. Okay, V-Dog, thank you. He said I need to search for Stafford Sheridan tailgate gas station review. All right, I'm going to jot that. There's no way I'll jot that down without delaying the conversation here on the show. So I'm just going to take a quick picture of that with my phone, my handy-dandy iPhone 12 Plus from C Spire, the #1 network in Mississippi. And now I have it saved, and I will be able to look that one up. White Denzel says, this is when Annabeth was here. He said, Homecoming Queen, I'm making crawfish hamburgers with dill sauce tonight. Crawfish hamburgers. What is it, a hamburger with crawfish on it? Or is it burgers made out of crawfish? What is it, Denzel? I need more details. I'll send Annabeth a text. She can let me know what she thinks about it from the carpool line at school. State Grad 98 says, also, what about Jerrion Ely, baseball or football? State Grad 98. I might go with football with him also. Yeah. But I haven't gotten to see him play baseball. I know he's hurt this year. So, I don't really know. And maybe I'm just biased on the whole football thing, right? Bush League texts and says, Annabeth, what kind of armchair quarterback is Matt? Does he yell at the TV a lot? I am so sad, Bush League, that I didn't get to that question while she was here. Maybe I'll text her that one also. Sorry. You can tell I didn't get to everything. Free American on the Chinese rocket says that Jake's show said that it's supposed to land somewhere in Utah. He says, oh, yeah, that's like the ocean. No. Troll Tide says, gee golly whiz, I hope that Chinese thing doesn't land in Sardis Lake or someplace like that.
Or the reservoir.
Or the res. That's right. I mean, a 10-story tall rocket lands in a reservoir. It's causing some issues. Not to mention makes the whole thing toxic. Anthony from Tupelo, he says, geez, Matt, while you're at it, remind us of the 1918 tornado of Tupelo. I thought that was in the 30s. Look, I was just giving you historical nugget. Okay, Natchez happened to come up on the show. Right before the show, I'm clicking through some of these historical nuggets I get in an email, and boom, there's one on this day from Natchez, Mississippi, 1840. I thought, I didn't know it, that in 1840 on May the 7th, there was a tornado that killed 317 people. I just thought I'd mention. I didn't mean to be a Debbie Downer. You said the 1918 Tupelo tornado. I thought it was in the 30s. Or was that a different one? That's all. That's all I just want to know. That's all I want to know. Dog Tired in Florence says Natchez is so historical. The original capital of the Mississippi Territory. Actually included the whole state of Alabama. Good stuff. We'll roll along here on a free-for-all Friday with you, and we'll wrap up hour number 2 coming up next. Stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech-Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech-Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if you know who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out. Okay. And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi. And that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, you know, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy, better buy, better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard fresh and delicious.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy, better buy, better buy Bird's Eye.
Now, if you know your oats and want to feel your oats,
to get back to our little talk.
Right here on the Matt Wyatt Show.
All right, back with you. Again, maybe I'm crazy. It just seems like the first 2 hours really flew by. I think I'm having that feeling a lot lately. Is it just because I'm getting older, so time's starting to go back quickly? Pouring some hot coffee into the cup from High Point Roasters in New Albany, Mississippi. I got some more. Showed up today in a box. Yep. 3 1-pound bags, including New Albany blend, some new, I can't pronounce it. I'm going to have to get the package out and look. I think it said it came from Kenya. And then another flavor that I've told you about that I'm very high on, and that is the Campfire Blend. Check it out. From right here in Mississippi, it's our best coffee. It is phenomenal. HighPointRoasters.com. You can order it right there, and Dan, the coffee man, will ship it right to your door. So check it out. All right. Wayne is hanging on line 1 of the Davini Equipment phone line. What's up, Wayne? Thanks for calling.
Yes, sir. All right. Now, this is not sports. Do you know what Vicksburg used to be called?
Yes. Hang on. I think I got it. Was it Walnut Hills?
And that was amazing when I found that out. I've been to that restaurant over there. If you ever over there in Vicksburg, if you ain't never been there, you need to go.
Right. Listen, it's Wayne. I agree with you. And it's been a while since I've been. What I remember about it is at Walnut Hills there in Vicksburg, that restaurant, you can sit at this giant round table that spins.
That's right. That's right. Or you can sit, away from it. But they got some of the best desserts you'll ever eat in that place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They homemade,
Right.
But anyway, but I was amazed. I learned something but by that. But gentlemen, y'all have a great weekend, and let's see what these dogs and rebels and see what they're going to do. All right. I appreciate it, my man.
Thanks,
y'all be
Wayne.
careful.
All right. Call me anytime. Yeah. Vicksburg was initially called Walnut Hills. It seemed like it had 2 or 3 different names. I know a lot of places did, but it's one place that I think I read that initially it had a name, and it was like named after a guy who was maybe a minister or something, and he moved there, had a small community. They named it after him or something, and then later changed it to Walnut Hills, and then later changed it to Vicksburg. You know what? As it grew bigger and bigger and all that kind of stuff. There's so much about all that history that I find interesting. Walnut Hill. I'll tell you what else I find interesting. That fried chicken I ate at Walnut Hills restaurant. They do have great desserts, for sure. For sure. He mentioned Bulldogs Rebels. I mentioned it earlier in the show. And let me just plug it. I have no reason. It's not like they're paying me to say it. I have no reason. I'm just passing it along. There's a website out here called 14powers.com. So the number 1, the number 4, and then the word powers.com, as in 14 SEC teams. And it's a pretty neat resource. I don't know who's behind it. I think it's been out there for maybe 5 or 6 years now. It's the first I've heard of it, but I went there and it's actually a pretty neat resource, especially for baseball, in the way that they give you nice little capsules for previewing every series. And there's some other information there. It kind of gives you a rundown of how all the series have gone throughout the year in a nice little chart, which that's always hard to find, who won 2 out of 3 and which weekend and stuff. Anyway, you might check it out and see what you think. 14powers.com. So 1, 4, and then powers.com. Anyway, that's what I was using earlier, just taking a look at the series. State is at South Carolina, starts tonight. Tennessee is at Missouri this weekend. Alabama goes to Vanderbilt. Georgia is at Arkansas. Ole Miss is at Texas A&M Bluebell Park. And then Florida at Kentucky started last night. Kentucky took game 1. LSU at Auburn started last night, and LSU took game 1 of that series. Quick preview. And Southern Miss is hosting Middle Tennessee State in Hattiesburg this weekend. 4 games. Weather permitting, they're supposed to play 1 today, 2 tomorrow, and then 1 on Sunday. Let's go back over to the phone. Davini Equipment phone line. Norm on line 1. What's up, Norm? Norm, you there? I do not hear Norm. So we'll keep trying on that. Hey,
Hello?
Norm, what's up?
Hey. Yeah, hey. I was just at that Walnut Hills. You know, they make you pay $30 for 2 drumsticks over there.
Come on now, it's not that expensive.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive. And I tell you what, too, when I was in there, it was about they had the temperature down really low. It was about as cold as a vampire's demeanor.
That's a good one. That's a good one, Norm. That's a good one.
But I tell you what, they got some pretty good fried green tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
They got the crawfish tails on them and everything. They're pretty good.
This might be the real Norm Macdonald. It really might be. It's not Norm from Cheers. This really might be the real Norm Macdonald from Cheers. Who would have ever thought that Norm Macdonald from Saturday Night Live would ever go to Walnut Hills? But I guess he has.
I probably went because I was hungry or something like that.
Thanks.
I don't know. That's my guess. I'm just guessing. Thank you.
Thanks for calling, Norm. Norm wouldn't be a smart aleck, would he? Probably went because I was hungry or something. Woodrow on line 2. Thanks for calling, Woodrow. Hey, Woodrow, was that you that texted me a little bit ago that said you used to be a tour guide in Vicksburg?
Yeah, that's me.
That
I've
is
got
really
a little
neat.
story for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I was tour guiding there, one of the places you can go in the park is Fort Hill. I don't know if you're familiar with Fort Hill.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so when you go to Fort Hill and you look west across the river, there's a big kind of a long rectangular shape that's cut out of the ground that you can actually see from the top of Fort Hill. And what that was is during the Civil War, when Grant came to try to take Vicksburg, some of the scholars, some of the historians say that it's possible that he could have used a strategy that was used by a military commander in the Bible to try to take Vicksburg. In the Bible, King Cyrus was a Medo-Persian and eventually defeated the Babylonian world power who were holding God's people captive by diverting the river away from the city that was protecting Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing was is that they thought that Grant had knowledge of that, and he tried to divert the Mississippi River away from Vicksburg so that he could do that. So he put all of these troops out on the Louisiana side of the river to try to dig this kind of a diversion canal, basically.
Right.
But you can imagine, in Louisiana in July wearing wool uniforms.
They wore out a little bit.
He lost more men to malaria than he did actually invading Vicksburg.
Hey, and here's my question. And just out of curiosity, I would love to know how many of those that quote unquote had malaria just really were pretty given out and were fine with people thinking they had malaria, if you know what I mean.
they faked the malaria for
Yeah,
sure. I mean,
yeah.
I would think probably an entire division of Union troops were like, okay, we're all sick.
Yeah, we're sick.
You
Got
know,
it.
we just can't take it anymore. So, but you know, obviously that strategy failed. But it was just interesting. It was kind of an interesting tie-in. We had to learn a lot of these little interesting facts about, you know, the siege of Vicksburg and everything that happened with that. And that was just one of the more curious facts about the siege there that Grant tried that failed miserably, and then of course he wound up taking it in a much more conventional manner. But I know you're a history guy, and I thought you might like that.
Well, I appreciate you sharing it so much. It's interesting you brought up being a tour guide. I found a video. I watched it yesterday and today. I couldn't do it all in one sitting. Of a guy. It's on the Vicksburg National Military Park YouTube page. And it was a guy giving a tour down at Grand Gulf and kind of talking about that whole, you know, eventually making landfall there and coming up before they started their march east and headed over to Jackson and all that. I'd never learned a lot of those details. And so I was wondering at first, is this the same guy? But no, he at least sounded much older than you do. Whoever gave that tour. Hey, but I will tell you, you mentioned, you know, failing at something, and I have mentioned that on this show before because I talk about going and walking and jogging in the military park all the time. And I'm telling you, Woodrow, there are times that I stand there and look at stuff that Union Army tried to do and think to myself, they were absolutely insane to think that they could do this. Some of the
that's so true,
including diverting the Mississippi River. I mean, it's almost like they had to be nuts. But anyway, thanks for the call, Woodrow. Call me anytime. That was great. I love learning stuff. When it's July, put on some wool clothes and go to the military park, walk around, and see what you think about it. Absolutely insane. That's a whole different kind of tough. For sure. That wraps up hour 2. If you leave us, have a great night. If not, stick around for hour 3 right around the corner.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Arrived today. Jeans do come true. Thank you, Blue Delta. Yeah, jeans do come true. That's what the bag says. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi, my hometown. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. Again, that's if you listen to me, you can use discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, and at checkout, you're going to get a 10% discount off your order. So I just went online, ordered them, BlueDeltaJeans.com a couple weeks ago. Went in, I didn't go get measured. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are at my doorstep a couple weeks later. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Nice. I'm happy. I've known the Blue Delta team for years, and I'm thrilled to have these guys on as a sponsor of this show. Blue Delta's Virtual Tailor is a fun and easy way to get yourself into the best fitting pair of jeans you're ever going to own. Bet you never thought you'd get a butt shot out of me, huh? How about that? Just answered the questions and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions. It's amazing how they do it. They will fit perfectly. You're not going to find better material and better feeling pants, period, anywhere. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. I promise you that. And I know that you are going to love them too. Make sure you use the code. And remember, jeans do come true.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today, and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold.
And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
Is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O Instant Pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good, good busy day dessert. Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Navage for fast, all-natural relief from sinus congestion and allergies, and to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier without drugs. Navage is easy to use, affordable, and comes with an absolute guarantee of satisfaction. You wash your hands and brush your teeth every day. Now it's time to start cleaning your nose with Navage. At Navage.com, CVS, Walgreens, Bed Bath, Target, and Rite Aid. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
This is WRKS Pickens Jackson. Live
in the studio.
Live and local. This is the Matt Wyatt Show. Talking about sports from around the world and right here at home. Streaming to you at The Zone, 1059.com, and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
All right, let's go. Let's do it. Hour 3 of the show, off and running. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau. Hour 3 presented by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Have you heard me say that before? Well, just listen up. Here's why I'm telling you. You know, you never know. Okay, so if life finds you moving to Starkville, you're going to live in Starkville in that college town permanently. Well, you start the home buying process with Overstreet Properties. But maybe it's temporary. Maybe you need a condo for when you come into town for ball games, or you have a student that's going to school there. So you're getting ready for, let's just say, next year. Well, this summer, you need to lease an apartment. Look up Overstreet Properties. See Kane Overstreet at overstreetproperties.com. You get the contact info, you'll be off and running. All right, it's a free-for-all Friday. Plenty to get into with you here on the Country Pleasing text line, on the live stream, and elsewhere. Let me know what you think. Woodrow, appreciate your text and call. He says, thanks, Matt. Love the show. Yeah, I really do appreciate hearing from you. I'm fascinated by people who, have an all-encompassing knowledge of a historical place, so much to be a tour guide, including in a place like Vicksburg. So anytime you want to call and drop some knowledge on me like that, I'd love to hear it. I'm fascinated by it. Jason in Flagstaff said, LOL, if the river swamps in Vicksburg were anything like they are in Greenville, and they dug into that mud at all, they probably did all have malaria and whatever else mosquitoes carry. He said mosquitoes are an absolute plague in that stuff. Yeah. Do we know any natural mosquito repellents? Are we aware of any of those, or is it all wives' tales? Is it all just get used to it or die? I mean, which is it? Dog Tired in Florence said, in Vicksburg, he says, look at the, what did he say here? Look at the Confederate cannons wrapped with piano wire to add strength, meaning more gunpowder, so that the cannonballs would reach the river. Goodness, where do you look at those? Where do they have those, Dog Tire? They're on display where? It's amazing what they'd come up with. Doggone says, how do you like the live RPI Warren Nolan website? He predicts games in year-end RPI. I haven't looked at it much, Doggone. You have a lot of experience with it? I'm certainly familiar with the name, Warren Nolan, and the live RPI. I guess I probably should start keeping an eye on it, right? Because whether it's him or anyone, they're tracking RPI. Now you're starting to have most of the season under your belt, so the whole RPI is really starting to fill itself out, right? Because if you were, or me or anybody were tracking RPI as early as February, even early March, it can really fool you. And even now, to their credit, you look at somebody like Fairfield, who's 28-1 overall, haven't played as many games and that kind of thing, but they're sitting there at number 5 in the RPI. When I pull it up, it's tracking the RPI just like they have over at D1. I mean, it's basically right there in lockstep. What I don't know on this Warren Nolan website, doggone, is how to look at some predicted, end of year RPI deal. That's what I don't know how to find that. So if you got a link, let me know. Because right now, I pulled it up and it looks basically his RPI rankings anyway look identical to the RPI tracker. Okay, here we go. Predicted RPI. Is that what it is? Click predicted RPI. Okay, what does he have? He has a predicted finish like this. Try this on for size. Based on all the data at Warren Nolan, thank you, doggone, for the talking point here. He has a predicted RPI of Arkansas, number 1. This is, in other words, predicting the end of the season. Arkansas, number 1. TCU, number 2. Mississippi State, 3. Ole Miss, 4. Vanderbilt, 5. He has Arkansas finishing 42-10. State finishing 42-12. He has Ole Miss finishing 41-14 and Vandy finishing 40-13. He has Arkansas finishing the season with the number 1 strength of schedule. Am I looking at this right? He has State going 21-9 in the SEC. 1 game behind Arkansas at 22-8. A half game ahead of Ole Miss at 21-10. And has State 1 game ahead of Vanderbilt, finishing 20-10. It's interesting how he predicts that. So I wonder what it's saying the losses, wins and losses are, going forward. Anyway, it's neat. maybe he has a way to predict that. It seems to me that baseball would be the least predictable of all the sports out here, but I like it. It gives you something to look at. Okay, this is probably the most important thing that we've talked about in the last little while. It goes back to White Denzel's text from earlier when he was wanting to let my wife know that he's making crawfish hamburgers with dill sauce tonight. And did she approve? I can tell you she would approve. She loves crawfish. But my question was, okay, what are we talking about here? Is it hamburgers with crawfish on it? Or is it burgers made out of crawfish? And so your details are that it's hamburgers with crawfish mixed in there with the ground beef. Okay. All right. Now we're talking. And dill sauce, something I'm not honestly all that familiar with. J-Rock wants to know, how does Warren Nolan have Ole Miss playing in an extra conference game? I don't know. I mean, is it factoring in some sort of weather cancellation, something like that? I don't know. I mean, honestly, like, they're so high. It's in most years, we either have one or both who are bubble-ish, whether it be, kind of in that bubble of hosting or not, or in worst case scenario, some years it's even like bubble-ish in the tournament. But, we have a lot of years where Ole Miss or State or both are right there on the verge of either hosting or not. You're kind of on that bubble of the host. And we have a big discussion, and we'll take a look at 8 different scenarios, how it could possibly play out. But it's like right now they're in such good shape that, whether someone's predicting one to finish a half game ahead of the other or playing another game or whatever, we're still only talking about splitting hairs because we're looking at them both solidly in the hosting conversation. If you looked at D1 baseball, a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was, coming out of the state series on Super Bulldog weekend, State took 2 out of 3. Help me out. Right after that, Ole Miss lost 2 out of 3 to who? LSU? Somebody. They had a stretch where they didn't really play that well, and they lost some series in a row, and it took them out of the projected host sites according to D1 baseball. Again, it's just according to D1 baseball is what it is. But that little stretch, well, as soon as they swept South Carolina last weekend, I noticed that D1 baseball put Ole Miss right back in as a host again in their 64-team projection. It's interesting, too, how Mississippi-centric they predict the Starkville Regional to be. Like, if you look at these projections, they've got State hosting as a number 4 national seed. State, the 1, obviously, hosting 2 seed Southern Miss, 3 seed Tulane, and then 4 seed Jackson State. So 3 of the 4 teams in that regional from Mississippi. Whereas when they put Ole Miss back in a hosting conversation, had them as a 10 seed overall. They had Charlotte as the 2, which that'd be a tough 2 right there when you look at the year that they have and the team that Charlotte has this year. Clemson as a 3, and then Morehead State as a 4. And I know it's not about where they're from. It's all about where they are seated. It's just crazy to think about if you have 2 host sites in Mississippi and one of them's going to have almost all Mississippi teams and the other one's not going to have any Mississippi teams going in there. It's just crazy to think about it actually working out that way. And I bet the committee wouldn't honestly do that, frankly, if they both host. They're both in a conversation now, but it's like Florida. I mean, this is D1 baseball, and they project Florida as a 14 seed and hosting there in Gainesville in their new ballpark. And they got Florida State in there as a 2, South Alabama in there as a 3, and Florida A&M in there as a 4. So you'd have a regional in Gainesville that would have 3 of the 4 teams from the state of Florida. Who knows how it goes? Somebody brought up this point. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, and he said, the thing about the projections, it's like they always do a good job of getting about the host and then 2 of the visiting teams, but that 4th team always seems to, in every regional, they throw you a curveball. It's almost like the committee goes, well, we're going to do something crazy with this 4th team that we put in there just so that nobody can feel good about predicting what we're going to do. So you always do get some hiccups in the way that things shakes out, but generally you get those, I guess, because the decision-making process is taken all the way up to the end of the year. And it's going to be slightly different this year. Make the decision just a little bit earlier than normal. Just like we're talking about next week, I think they moved it back to the end of next week. So almost like a week from now, we'll be talking about how they have narrowed it down to 20 possible host sites. They keep inching things back a day and back a day and back a day. So we'll kind of see where things are at that point. Country Please and text line 885 ESPN. Grumpy says, what did he say? Okay, I asked the question, and Grumpy, you're answering. My question was, do we know of any natural mosquito repellent? I think about those poor people sure, they figure something out, right? Like, mosquitoes have always been a problem. Like, before we had off mosquito spray with DEET, what do we use? Grumpy says diluted lemon oil works great for mosquito repellent. Sometimes I wonder about that stuff too, Grumpy. It's like something natural like that will work on one person and not the other. Why? Jason in Flagstaff says natural mosquito repellent, citronella grass, and burning juniper, and then cover yourself in the smoke and or ash. Okay, all right. Is that a military thing, Jason? May they teach you that? Or did you just come up with that? I need to know. Squez is really itching for his Diamond Dogs to get another shot at playing Tulane. He says, please let us play Tulane again and beat their by 20. What's the problem with Tulane, Squez? Does it go back to the jawing and trash talking coming out of their dugout when you hosted them earlier this year? Yeah, they're a chatty bunch. How's Tulane doing, by the way, this year? Let's look them up. Right now, they are projected as a 3 seed in the Starkville Regional. Now, that would produce some drama, would it not, given how that went? Because when they played there in late February, it was a 3-game series in Starkville on the 26th, 27th, and 28th of February. It's cold, but you got pretty decent weather, but Tulane, took 2 out of 3 from State. State won the opener, and then Tulane back into that series. It took 2 out of 3. They won the second game 9-5, won the last game 5-4. And they let you know about it. Since then, I got that totally wrong. State took 2 out of 3 and back into it. What's wrong with me? That ain't what happened. They won the first game and let you know about it. Yeah, State took 2 out of 3 and back into that series. Come on, Matt. Come on, Matt. Yeah, I got you. I get it right. It's Friday. It's my excuse. State won the opener 7-3, and then, they won the.
Come on, Matthew.
I took a sip of coffee. Let's see if it gets better. I hear you, Pete. I hear what you're saying.
That don't make no sense.
It doesn't. I'm going to correct it. Just hang on here. Tulane won the opener 7-3 when the long-haired guy on the mound, remember, he's throwing junk. State could not hit it. That ball was moving all over the place. And State sent an umpire out there to check for some substance. Okay. And Tulane won that opener. And they let you know about it. And then State came back and back-ended it and took the series. But all that jawing, and Squez wants another shot at him. Tulane is 24-14. And in the AAC, they are 13-2. So they've kind of made short work of the AAC in terms of their baseball season. If you look at things that have happened to them this year, Tulane that is, after losing the series in Starkville, they took 2 out of 3 from Western Kentucky, 2 out of 3 from Troy. They were swept on a weekend series by a good Louisiana Tech team. You know, they normally play LSU in a midweek. That one got rained out in late March, a little over a month ago. They lost a series to Grand Canyon. They hosted a really good, as we know, Jackson State baseball team and had a high-scoring, close ball game in a midweek, but beat them 10-7. They then jumped into their conference play. They played 4 games against Memphis, won 3 out of the 4. An entire series with South Florida got booted because of COVID. They swept Wichita State, swept Memphis, 3 out of 4 against Houston. They had a stretch in mid to late April where they won, 8 games in a row? Won 9 out of 10. Yep. And so that's kind of where they are. They've actually been playing good baseball here as of late coming into this weekend. And so they got their hands full this week, though, because Tulane is at East Carolina, a really good top 10, top 15 program, projected to be a host. They got to go up there and play 4 games this weekend. They're scheduled to play 1 tonight, 2 tomorrow, 1 on Sunday. So what Tulane has left, again, a projected 3 seed in the Starkville Regional. What Tulane has left is 4 games on the road at East Carolina, 4 games at home against UCF, and then finishing up the season 4 games on the road at Cincinnati. So there you go. Overall, Tulane is 24-14. They are 17-10 at home this year in New Orleans. They are 7-4 on the road, 13-2 in their conference, as I mentioned. Here's the thing about Tulane. You go, well, that sounds pretty good in the AAC. You know, if they were to really, I don't know, if they were to figure out something against a good East Carolina team who's ranked 13th in the top 25 this weekend, maybe that could bump them up. Here's the thing. All of this resume that Tulane has built up, the reason they're a 3 seed right now is because it comes against competition that's in the RPI, 50th spot or worse. Teams between 50 and 100, they are 5-3. Against teams that are 100 to 200 in the RPI, they're 16-6. They got a couple of wins that are even outside of the top 200. They have played 6 games against teams in the top, 50 spots in the RPI and only have 1 win, and that was that 1 win they picked up at Mississippi State. They're 1-5 against spots 1 through 25 in the RPI, and have no games against teams that are 26 through 50 in the RPI. So it's a level of competition thing, and anytime they've stepped up in competition, it hadn't been too good. So that kind of lets you know for Tulane what kind of opportunity they have this weekend in baseball at East Carolina. Squez, see, man, here's the thing about this show. You just never know what might spark me on a 10-minute talk about Tulane baseball or something weird like that. Yeah, I said it. Weird. Troll Tide, what does he say here? We got mosquito remedies. He says mosquitoes don't like vinegar. Problem is, most people don't like the smell of it either. But if you're fishing, it doesn't matter anyway. So you're telling me vinegar. I've heard lemon oil, diluted lemon oil. I'm now hearing vinegar. And, of course, Jason said citronella grass, burning juniper. Cover yourself, smoke and ash. And he did say it was survival class. He said the other thing was caking yourself in the mud, but that stuff's smell is worse than the mosquitoes. See, I don't think so. Like if you were in a survival situation, Jason, and you didn't have juniper or citronella grass, well then Yeah, just cover yourself in mud. Well, it stinks. Well, so what? I mean, it beats getting carried off by mosquitoes, doesn't it? You're right. I mean, you can't walk around your neighborhood covered in mud. I mean, you could once. And thanks for your reminder. Jason wants to know, he says, what did y'all use when you were fishing pro? You wanted those fishing stories, didn't you? I'll tell you next. I'm Matt in the Bureau. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country pleasing sausage is outstanding. Whether you cook it over a fire or in the house, cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor, you see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me. Davini Equipment, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson, Highway 51 in Madison. Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if, you know, who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, BlueDeltaJeans.com. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Just answered the questions, and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions, use this code. Use the code, you're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn, and I know that you are going to love them too.
Show on 105.9 The Zone and worldwide online at thezone1059.com.
All right, back with you. Rolling along, hour number 3 of the show today. It's a casserole hour on a free-for-all Friday. You never know what you might get here, including homemade mosquito remedies. Woodrow says, I don't think anything would have helped those Union soldiers on the west side of the Mississippi River. Nothing would have helped. What were they thinking? You know, come to think of it, Woodrow, I was talking about how impossible the odds were of some of the stuff they tried before deciding, well, we got no choice. We just got to siege Vicksburg. They tried to go across a few of those ravines and got repulsed. And you look at it and go, what were they thinking? Hey, no way. No way. Why do they think they could do that? Well, I guess some of those guys probably thought, man, okay, you want me to go down there, across there, and up that hill and try to get in over there? Okay, I'll do it. Anything beats on the other side of the river over there digging with a shovel. Sure, get out of the way. I'll go. Maybe, I hate to make it trivial, but you have to wonder. White Denzel says Johnson & Johnson aloe vera baby lotion is the absolute best mosquito repellent. And look, that deal there, the baby lotion, Skin So Soft stuff, people say it really works, and I'm sure it does. When people talk about the smell, that's what I can't stand. I don't know what it says about me. I could stand, if I had to smear mud all over me, I could stand that smell better than I could having to rub down with baby lotion. To each his own. Dog Tired in Florence says his great-grandfather would eat tons of garlic. Claimed it repelled any crawling or flying insects. Yeah, you know what else it repelled? Everybody. You want to go hang out with Grandpa? No. You smelled him? I'm kidding. Juniper. What is juniper? Jason in Flagstaff says the juniper thing, by the way, comes directly from the Navajo, Apache, and Pueblo peoples. They used burning juniper and evergreen needle trees like pine, cedar, fir for a lot of stuff. He says, I make a cold medicine tea out of it sometimes. All right. Let's just go down to the store and get you some Flonase, Mucinex. I'm kidding. Miko says citronella candles are awesome. They also work against those pesky, bothersome, try to fly in your eyes, nose, ears, black flies. Yeah, those gnats, those biting gnats. When is love bug season? Bill, I know, in your neck of the woods, you get once a year we get into love bug season?
It's June, I believe.
When, anything longer than an hour's drive, you got to have something you can clean your windshield with?
Yeah.
Or else you can't see
I
out?
think it's around June. Yeah.
Those things, man.
It's terrible when they come out.
It is. But what are we going to do about it? We just live with it. We have to. We have no choice. It's like the weather. What good does it do to complain about it? There's almost nothing we can do about it. Carla Danger is on line 1. Let's see what's up. Carla, it's been
Hey, Matt. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. It's been a while. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well. Thank you. I was just wondering if you have happened to catch Naked and Afraid XL. They're 2 episodes in right now, and in the Atchafalaya Swamp in Louisiana.
Come
and it is
on.
unreal.
You're kidding.
I mean,
me.
they don't really have to be naked, but they definitely should be afraid. Those mosquitoes are going to carry them away.
But I thought the premise of that show was that they did have to be, frankly, unclothed.
They are. Oh, they're
Yeah.
naked.
Yeah.
They're naked, and they're getting torn up by the mosquitoes. And there's something that I'd never heard of that one or two of these guys have encountered called nutria itch.
Oh, really?
And Google it. It's terrifying.
Okay.
One of them got it in his nether regions, and it's like the nutria rats. It comes out of their feces. It's some parasite.
Lord have
It gets
mercy.
in your skin. It's horrible. And they're down there for 60 days right now. Well, I mean, they're not now. It's already filmed, but it's pretty good. The 3rd episode will be this Sunday.
Okay. You know, I'll be honest. So I love survival shows. Love them. You know, like that one show that was on, I think it was A&E, but it was called Alone, you know, and they would drop them off. And if you survived the longest, and it could go on for months. And if you were the last one left, you'd get $500,000. And it was like an ongoing series. I love the survival shows and stuff. And I will be honest, Carla Danger, that initially when Naked Afraid came out, you know, it's a survival show. These people putting up with all this stuff. And like I watched one where the guy gets himself totally just, I'm talking scorched, sunburned on some remote island, right? Because he's out there naked.
I remember that.
Remember that? And in all of these,
I remember that one.
In all of these, initially they'd pair up a man and a woman. And in all of these, the women were tougher than the men. Every single one of them, you know, did better than. But after a little bit, I just got to the point where I'm like, you know, I think I've seen enough wrinkly rear ends. I just have seen enough of it.
Well, these are lots of wrinkly, heavy-set rear ends right now because they all knew they were going to be doing this for 60 days, and they fattened up like a bunch of bears getting ready to hibernate.
Did they really?
It is hilarious. Yes, they did, and right now they are killing water moccasins left and right and cooking them and eating them, trying to catch alligators. It's really, really good.
Well, I can't tell if everything you've said is great promotion for that show or right the opposite. It's one or the other, you know, like you're no in between. Well,
yeah, I know. I don't know if I'm a very good salesman of this right now, but that is truly what is happening on this show, and I am here for it.
That's great. Thanks, Carla. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, have a great one. Enjoy this weather.
Thank you. You too. I mean, you know, the Atchafalaya Basin in Louisiana, unclothed. You know, only during and after, immediately after Armageddon. That's what I would say about that. You know, only if you absolutely have to. And the thing about that show is I'm not sure what they win. You know, at least in that Alone show, Bill, they're going to have 500,000 smackaroos if they outlast everybody else. You know, that's something. And eating a water moccasin. I just don't think I'd agree to that. Okay, Bill, is it T?
T-E.
T-E.
Is the initials.
Okay, T-E on line 2, first time caller on the show. What's up, T-E?
Hey, Matt.
Hey.
Matt.
Hey, what's up?
Well, I'm a first-time caller, but I've been listening to your show a long time. But anyway, y'all always talk about little phenomena. Well, there's a big phenomenon fixing to happen here in Mississippi in the next 7 to 10 days.
All right.
And you know about the 17-year cicadas?
Yeah, vaguely.
Well, they're coming out. They already started in a few places. There's about 9 states, and only in the United States.
Okay.
And these things come out, there's going to be like a trillion of them. I just been reading the whole article about them today.
Okay.
And they're going to make so much noise. They said it's like a big sci-fi movie, a bad sci-fi movie, and it will absolutely pierce your ears.
Really?
And I remember this from, you know, I'm a little older, a lot older really than you, but I have experienced this a couple of times, and then tell you what, it don't last for about 10 days till they reproduce, and you'll hear them in the evenings because they want to come out in the evenings when the predators can't get them. And
right.
so they will absolutely. You'll be listening. You'll be talking about it here the next few days when you start listening to it.
Okay, when you start hearing it. So I appreciate the heads up.
You start hearing it.
TE. So they're called, I'm looking at it now, it's called Brood X cicadas.
Brood X, yeah.
Brood X, and they came out last in 2004.
Yep.
And it says in May and June, get ready for them this year for the first time in 17 years. And they even...
they said they're coming out early this year because of global warming. And so they're early this year.
All right, and I'm looking at a map right here. Okay, how about this? How about this, TE? It says Brood X cicadas, where they will emerge. Okay, and the primary areas are kind of in, the east and northeast. They don't, on this map I'm looking at on this particular thing, it comes from AccuWeather. They have states highlighted in green where they expect them to emerge the most. Tennessee and Georgia are highlighted, but Alabama and Mississippi are not. But there are some other maps that are showing, it says like North Mississippi. Obviously, if they emerge in Tennessee, they're coming down here.
Well, you know what? Maybe I heard them when I was up in Oxford. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know that. And I'm from Georgia, but I don't think I remember them when I was a kid. But maybe I heard them up north. Maybe I did hear them in North Mississippi.
Maybe you did, and that's the thing about it. Like, they have the entire state of Tennessee in green saying they're going to emerge there. Well, I live in Tupelo, right? Well, if something pops open up in Tennessee, it's coming here. So you're going to hear it, like you say. I guess this is just showing where they're coming out of the ground. Is that what it is? They're coming out of the ground?
Yeah, they come out of the ground.
Wow.
They feed on the nutrients. When they drop down out of the trees, they go up the trees, what they do. Then they drop down in the ground and they feed off those nutrients. But it's amazing that it's amazing to me that they got such timing.
Yeah.
17 years.
On the dot. And that's thanks for the info, TE. Appreciate you calling me. That is really, look it up. Brood X cicadas. Batten down the hatches.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country pleasing sausage is outstanding, whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me.
Davini Equipment, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson, Highway 51 in Madison. Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their No Bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it,
You'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. BlueDeltaJeans.com. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Just answered the questions, and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions, use this code. Use the code, you're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn, and I know that you are going to love them too.
Right now. You've got the Matt Wyatt Show on 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
All right, couple of things for you. Baseball history. On this day in 2016, that was not that long ago, in the Mets 6-3 victory over the Padres, 42-year-old Bartolo Colon left the yard.
First hit of the year. He drives one. Deep left field. Back goes Upton. Back near the wall. It's out of here. Bartolo has done it. The impossible has happened. The team vacates the dugout as Bartolo takes the long trot. His first career home run. And there will be nobody in the dugout to greet him. This is one of the great moments in the history of baseball. Bartolo Colon has gone deep.
I want to say that was one of the longest home run trots I've ever seen, but I think that's how fast he runs.
And now they'll flood up the tunnel.
Listen, the man was worn out when he got through with that home run trot. You'd be winded just watching him get finished rounding the bases after hitting that home run in San Diego. He was 42 years old, the portly right-hander. It was his third extra base hit in his 19-year career. And he passed Randy Johnson, who was 2 years younger, 40 years old. Randy Johnson hit a home run playing for Arizona in 2003. 42 years old, this man hit a Major League Baseball home run. And on top of all of it, like Carla Danger said, it looked like he was preparing for hibernation. Ready Teddy on the Country Pleasing text line said, if there's a game that fattening up is part of the preparation, I stay game ready. You too, Teddy, could maybe, just maybe, connect and hit a home run in Major League Baseball if they gave you enough tries. 19 years worth of tries. On this day in 1995 on NBC, they aired the final episode of Matlock. It's a heck of a show. I can't say as big an Andy Griffith fan as I have always been, as pretty much everybody has always been. I never did watch a ton of Matlock, but I know a lot of people did. Matlock. Ben Matlock, a very expensive criminal defense attorney who charges $100,000 to take a case. Fortunately, he's worth every penny as his associates defend clients by finding the real killer. All right, so Matlock was a TV series from 86 to 95, a good 10 seasons worth. There, it was a good show. Very popular.
Yeah, he made all that money, but he always had the same suit on.
Yeah, what did Ben Matlock do with all that money?
I don't know.
Because he sure did a lot of $100,000 cases.
Yep. Every week.
Every week for 10 years. That was a good show. Last one aired on this day in 95.
Used to run the reruns of that on weekends when I worked in television on Channel 16. We'd run that, so I got to see all of them.
So you saw them,
all the years I worked there. We ran pretty much every show.
You know what I think Matlock was? Matlock's one of those shows where you could see a promo, you could see anything. It's not necessarily anything that would pull you into it, but if you gave yourself 5 minutes, you'd be in.
You were hooked. You were hooked.
You were hooked. Because the stories were just good. They knew how to do good stories.
And then Don Knotts ended up being his neighbor there for a while.
Oh, is that right? I didn't.
Neighbor? Yeah.
I didn't realize
Some of
he
the
was
later shows. Yeah.
Okay.
His wacky neighbor.
Now this, I think there's some humor in this. I'm going to try to pull it off here. So we were talking about these cicadas, these Brood X cicadas that TE called in to let us know they're coming out. It's been 17 years or close to it. They're coming out. And he said that they're saying that if you get around them, that the noise is going to be ear piercing. So an unnamed texter, Bill, texted us and said the species name of cicada is Vanderbiltus whistleus. Whistletus. Vanderbiltus whistletus.
Yeah, he sounds like a cicada. He's annoying like a cicada.
Yeah, at least with cicadas, there's billions of them. And with this guy, it's one or two, as it were. White Denzel, what do you say here? The most common cicada you'll find in Mississippi are the 13-year cicadas. They last appeared in 2015. And, buddy, you know when they come around, I mean, the noise, I like the noise myself. What I don't like is when, like, you walk out into your garage to get in a car and you reach out to grab the door handle and one of them is sitting there on your door handle and you don't know it. So when you reach out and unknowingly touch the cicada, not only does it feel weird, but then he starts going, making that racket and scares the living daylights out of you. Had that happen before. Hey, by the way, Bill, I had to call Annabeth today because I don't know if you heard about last year, the whole snake in the garage story while I was on the air. I don't know if you heard about that.
I think I hear something about that. You know?
Well, you know, JB was here, and it's one of these things where it's traumatic. I'm up here in the studio. She comes in here. I'm on the air, mid-sentence, on the air now. I don't have a co-host, right? And she comes in on the air, and she goes, "Get off the radio. There's a snake in the house." And I'm like, I just kind of locked up. I did not respond to that curveball very well. I just thought, but I immediately looked. I had like 4 minutes until the break, and I think, okay, I got to get through this and get it to a commercial break. So I kept going. Well, in the meantime, I'm getting really mean text messages from her saying, "Get your butt off the radio. Get down here." Okay, so we had this. Well, I get down there, Bill, and it's just inside the mud room, like when you come in from the garage.
Right.
There's two snakes in there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, a big one and a little one. It's a big ordeal. Okay. And then there's this whole traumatic thing where now we got to figure out ways to prevent snakes from coming in the house, you know. So anyway, make a long story short, these kinds of things have taught me to keep my eyes and ears peeled so that she's not surprised by this stuff if I can help it. So today, she's gone. I go and I take the garbage can from the road. I bring it back up to the house, and the place where we put our outside garbage can, as I'm putting it in place, a giant lizard. Now this is, when I say lizard, I'm not talking about like a Gila monster. I mean our kinds of lizards we have around here.
Yeah.
A skink, you know. I'm talking about a big one. This sucker's about 14 inches long and fat. And they don't bother me. He just goes scurrying and running around. I'm like, wow, boy, that's a big one. Well, it's out there. It's outside. So I walk into the garage to come back in, and I hear a noise. Well, there's another one of those things, and he's in the garage. And he's scurrying around over there behind a broom and gets behind a cabinet or so. He's in there. I don't have time to chase him. Don't care. He's not going to harm or anything. But it did occur to me, okay, when she gets home in a little bit, she's going to park her car right next to this thing. And if she were to open the door and see it, she's going to either kill it or kill herself trying to kill it, one or the other, you know. So I called and warned her, hey, listen, just so you know, it's harmless. If you hear something in there, it may be a lizard.
Oh, boy.
And I got so tickled at the way she confirmed to me she had gotten this message and then ended our conversation. It was like, okay. I'm like, okay, you understand? Like, if you see it or hear something, don't freak out. It's just a lizard. She goes, okay. And it was like, all right, I'll see you later. Love you. She's like, bye.
I know a lizard had better stay in its lane.
Hey, it better not show its face. Based on her reaction, I thought to myself, she's like,
ready.
She's like, she's thinking worst case scenario. He's told me about it. Now I'm going to park the car. I'm going to open the door and see it. I'm going to freak out. She was like preparing herself mentally for this whole thing that hadn't even happened yet. But I felt like I needed to tell her. I didn't want her to be surprised.
Because if you surprised her and you didn't let her know if you let her know that you already knew about it.
Oh, man.
Talk about staying in your lane.
Yeah. No doubt.
You did the right thing by letting her know.
Well, I appreciate you confirming that. You've been married how long?
41 years.
Okay, good. I'm working on 13. I must be doing something right. Now
I guess so.
I got one who's been married for 41 who's confirmed I did something right. That's got to stand for something.
Information is a wonderful thing.
Communication, right?
Yeah, and no secrets.
Bulldog 44, he texted me when we were doing the Bartolo Colon highlight. He says he remember the famous John Kruk quote, I'm not an athlete, I'm a baseball player. John Kruk, one of a kind. He's also the one who said his hitting philosophy was swing hard in case you hit it. I love it. Well, it's been a good week. Y'all enjoy baseball this weekend. I'll be out on Monday, and I'll see y'all on Tuesday. And I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather. For Bill, I'm Matt. See y'all next time. See ya!
Another load of Smart Pills has been distributed, and I'm slap worn out. So I'll just say, so long, neighbors. Get me out of here, Percy.